Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Should I even ask how you guys are doing? Shannon celebrating Skip. Said he's spreading today. Can the show go on?
It's a beautiful morning, Jenny. It's a beautiful morning.
Beautiful morning.
I got a great night's sleep. Jamal Murray, Yoke, they did their thing, Skip. Ooh, how you doing, Skip?
I'm not here.
Yeah, you here. You right here. You right
I'm
across
not doing the show.
Well, you know what?
You can do it by yourself.
No. Snoop sent me a little something for you. Say, but give Skip one of these. It'll calm him down, and everything will be okay in about 15, 20 minutes.
I need one of those little things that get you up.
Oh, no, I ain't got none of this. This right here ain't gonna get you. This right, none of this will get you up. You will think you up, but you really down. Hey, Skip, how you doing?
I'm doing terrible. How are you?
Why are you doing terrible?
At least he's honest about it. Is this the
LeBron
first?
just won his fourth ring. I can't believe what I just saw.
This is not about LeBron. We're not talking about LeBron.
I can't believe it.
I can't.
I just had to get turned into a Nuggets fan. Who would have ever seen it coming? I'm now a Nuggets fan.
Really, Skip?
I don't know what to do with myself.
Really? Is that where we going?
Yeah.
I've never
I cannot
seen
believe you, Skip. I can't believe you would do
off
this.
the top of a show. That is a first ever, I think, for Undisputed. And since you mentioned being a Denver fan, Skip, let's talk about what exactly they did to your Clippers last night. The Nuggets made NBA history, becoming the first team to ever come back and win a series down 3-1 twice in the same postseason. Kawhi, who went 6 of 22 from the floor for 14 points, and the Clippers were left stunned as their championship aspirations were cut short of even a conference finals appearance. Paul George didn't help matters with only 10 points on 4 of 16 shooting last night. So, Shannon, I start with you. What's the biggest reason for the Clippers' collapse?
One name, two words, Kawhi Leonard. This is not about, Skip Bayless tells me, this is not about complimentary superstars. This is not about auxiliary players. This is about your stars. This is about a superstar. This is about the best player in the NBA, which he's never been. But people got so mad at LeBron. They get so tired of talking about LeBron.
People do?
Yes.
Who?
Yes, everybody. You know him.
There are 9 billion blind witnesses. The world is blind.
No, we're talking about analysts. We're talking about analysts. They've been trying to give this guy the mantle, the pedestal for the last 3 to 4 years. Although he's never won a regular season MVP, he's never been the best player in the NBA. He won 2 finals MVP. But was he the guy? This was a Tim Duncan, this was Manu, this was Tony Parker's team. He came in the background, he won. He went to Toronto. There was no expectations. They were not the favorite. Now, instead of being the hunted, instead of being the hunter, you're the hunted. Let me tell you what Kawhi Leonard did. As the best player in the world, he just blew a 3-1 lead, and in all the games, he had a double-digit lead. If you're the best player on the planet, that cannot happen. 2 points, Skip. Can I interest you in 2 points in the second half on 1 for 11 shooting?
Wow.
And he was flailing away. He was crying. And before I get this, I want to make sure I get this. Let's get it in here, Skip. 1, 2, 3, Cancun. You remember how Paul George and Pat Bev was yakking at Dame Lillard? Oh, you going, you packing. You mean to tell me they're about to go into luxury tax? They gave up their future, 2022, 2024, 2026, 23, 25, you got swaps. To go 1 extra round? To go 1 extra round, that's what it did. They can't even get to the Western Conference Finals.
Nope.
Because your guy, the guy that many said is the best player on the planet, gagged. He choked. There's no other way around it. It's the greatest choke job in NBA history. I defy you to find me another superstar that had a 3-1 lead and gagged like Kawhi Leonard did. He gagged. I told you, sometimes a man can make his destiny on the very road he took to avoid it. DJ, can you drop that track? Because I want to narrate over it. Because, Jenny, I know you remember opening night.
Jenny's not here.
Jenny's not here, okay. But anyway, Skip Bayless, are you here? Opening night, something transpired. Boom! It detonated like that earthquake that happened in July. He shocked the conscience of America. He did this.
It was great.
Whoa. It's not your turn to talk. Let me talk. I'm narrating over this. Yeah, you can see this down in the background as I'm talking. You see a little keychain dangling. He pulls up in his 6'4". He riding low. Oh, Kawhi Town. He exit Kawhi Avenue. Oh, this is new Kawhi. Kawhi. He's never, ever going to live this down. He gagged 3-1, and he choked them off, Skip. You mean to tell me you could only get me 2 points? And you couldn't stop? Hold on. A team full of dogs. Nobody can lock in like these guys. And there go Doc using that again, that energy, and they've been playing together. I'm done with the excuses. There is no excuse for this. Or when Pat Bev, when Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are on the floor, they're 11-0. And then they were 11-1. And then it was 13-1. And y'all, nobody can beat them. Oh, no one can beat this team. The Nuggets spotted them 2 games and walked them. Skip Bayless, this is embarrassing. I told you nothing will kill a legacy more than expectation because that's what he had. He wanted Paul George. I bet he wish he had Kyle Lowry now. I bet he had Pascal Siakam now. This is utterly ridiculous. This is embarrassing. Kawhi Leonard shot 27% in the fourth quarter in these series. Is that good? No. Now, everybody, hold on. Where are those next-gen stats that says Kawhi Leonard is the best closer in basketball? What does this say about you? Skip, you read it. You read those stats.
That's not my stat.
You read it.
I did not read it. Our producer read it to you. We did not do it on the show.
No.
I defy you to go find where I...
You mentioned it. Did you mention it?
I don't believe it. If I brought it up, it's because I don't buy it.
No,
I've never told you he was a closer. I've always told you he's not a closer. Don't put words in my mouth.
Hold on. I thought he was a shutdown defender, though. You told me he's the best defender in basketball. LeBron James is not even close to Kawhi Leonard.
Well, he wasn't. You told me LeBron quit playing defense 3 years ago.
No, I didn't say he quit playing defense. I say he don't devote that kind of energy because he's asked to do even more offensively.
Well, same for this guy.
Whoa.
This guy became the whole offense and nothing but.
Whoa. So that's why they got 83 points on. But anyway, neither here nor there. Skip, I want to know, when Jamal Murray starts cooking, he can't stop that. Says, you know what, guys? Paul George, other guys, y'all take the offensive end. It's on me. It's incumbent on me to shut Jamal Murray down. Okay, now he tried to do something with Yoke. Yoke had his way with him. Skip, you see these numbers? You look at what they got. They got 14 from Grant. They got 16, 22, and 13 from Yoke. They got 14 from Harris. They got 40 from Jamal Murray. So I'm trying to figure, who is he guarding? So the Clippers playing with 4. And then Paul George. Skip, before I'm going to turn it over to you, Paul George. This is what Paul George did in series-ending elimination games. Last night, he was 4 of 16. What did Paul George have? Paul George, 10 points, 4 of 16. Series-ending loss in Utah 2019, 3 of 14. Season-ending loss at Utah 2018, 2 for 16. Season-ending loss, elimination game against Cleveland, 5 of 21.
Always.
Wow.
What do I call him? Help me out. What do I always call him? George Paul. Don't I call him that?
Well, he
turns into George Paul.
Jamal Murray outscored Kawhi, PG, and Lou Will 40-31. There's no other way. Doc Rivers, gagged. Kawhi, Paul George, and the Clippers.
Gagged, said Shannon Sharp.
Hold on. Who's lost more 3-1 leads?
Doc.
Okay, then. Who has more Game 7 losses than any other coach in NBA history?
Who has the second most Game 7 wins in NBA history to Red Auerbach?
Whoa.
Doc.
Whoa. Second most. Who has the most L's? The most L's.
6 and 8.
Skip. The man has blown 3-1 deficit. You remember in Orlando, Skip?
I do.
Had Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady said it's going to be so great to go to the second round. Up 3-1. Boom. Skip Bayless, this is the ultimate choke job, and I want to see you wiggle this one. But somehow, I'm going to see you wiggle way out of this, so go ahead.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You better put your seatbelt on because I'm about to just destroy most of what you just said.
You can't, because they're not going to the playoffs. They're going no further. You can't destroy anything.
Just for the record, the all-time greatest choke job we have ever seen in the history of this sport happened to your man, LeBron James, in the 2011 finals.
Say it again.
He was up 2-1.
Say it again with your chest out.
And he made a list, according to my friend Stephen A. Smith. He reported that LeBron went back to the hotel in Dallas, Texas, and made a list of I told you so's, and I was at the top of the list. First I'm going to tell so is Skip Bayless.
Okay.
And then what happened? He melted down the way we've never seen any superstar in the history of the NBA melt down, okay, in games 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
He disappeared, and he had just joined forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh because they were going to dominate the Dallas Mavericks and win LeBron his first ring, and it did not happen because of LeBron James, who was widely acknowledged as the best player on the planet by then, for sure. Okay? So nobody ever said that Kawhi Leonard was the best player on the planet. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have.
Have I ever said that?
Charles Barkley has said it. All those guys on ESPN, from Jalen Rose, all of them have said it. Don't do that, Skip. Don't try to do it because he choked now.
All I've ever heard is he's the best two-way player because for a while he was the best defensive player. And he did win a Defensive Player of the Year.
He won 2 of them.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is once he broke through and won the first one, then people started saying, wait a second, he can score and he can really defend, so he's the best two-way player, because at that point in LeBron's career, he was starting not to focus on the defensive end of the floor. So best two-way player, but I don't know anybody who really said, he's the greatest player on the planet.
Internet, do your thing. I need you to get those quotes, put them in my inbox, and we'll try to get them up some point during the show. Go ahead, Skip.
I never said that. Okay, now back to the larger point here. I have been covering the National Basketball Association for the longest time. I started with Kareem's Lakers here in L.A. in 1976. So it's a long time. I've seen a lot of playoff basketball in my day. In all my time, I have never seen a team collapse the way the Clippers collapsed. I've seen lots of back-and-forth seesaw battles where the underdog finally wound up winning Game 7 and shocking the prohibitive favorite.
Right.
But those games go back and forth, where they take turns blowing each other out and embarrassing each other. Did the Clippers ever get blown out by the Nuggets from wire to wire? No. Did the Nuggets ever come out and just take over a game and you said, man, tonight was just the Nuggets' night? No, it didn't happen. The odds makers kept saying Clippers. They indicted the Clippers because they kept saying, you are clearly better than the other team, because for the first 6 games, they were 8.5-point favorites. Last night, they were 7.5.
7.5.
So the point is that Las Vegas is saying, you are clearly better than the other team. And in each of the closeout games, obviously games 5, 6, and 7, they showed you for stretches, really long stretches of the game, they were the superior basketball team because they led the first game 5 last Friday night. They were up by 19. Game 6, they were up by 16. And last night, with 4 minutes left in the first half, they were up by 12. So they kept showing you, we're this good, and we're this good. And then what happened? They utterly got devastated and blown off the floor by a team that psychologically owned them in all the moments that mattered. The Denver Nuggets snatched their heart, and then they snatched their soul.
But, Skip, you told me they were the most mentally toughest team. That's why they were going to beat the Lakers.
I agree that it wasn't just me. I heard it from all the analysts.
Who said it?
Everybody, starting with our Chris Broussard, who's going to join us. He was the first to say on this show, the Clippers just got too many dogs. And we're talking about mentally tough dogs. And for 3 straight fourth quarters, they turned into nothing but choking dogs. They turned back into the sorry, laughingstock, belong in the basement Clippers. That everybody in L.A. ridicules and laughs at. And last night, they were even worse than the old worst Clippers.
Even you returned them to the basement. You told them to go back to the basement.
Go back to the basement where you belong. Because all year long, they were often the favorite to win the whole championship. Going into the bubble, I think they were co-favorites with the Lakers to win it all. So it's not like they were sort of a mid-rung. No, they were the favorite. Okay, so now, what do I believe happened here? Well, here's what Kawhi Leonard did for the 7 games, just to refute your point. He led this team in scoring. He led this team in rebounding. He led this team in assists. Is that good? He led this team in steals. And he led this team in block shots. That's for 7 games. He put up numbers that even LeBron doesn't usually put up because he went all the way across the stat line and led his team in every category.
Yes.
And he shot 36% from 3 for the 7 games, which for his standards, he's not a great three-point shooter. Not bad. He shot 87% for the 7 games from the free throw line, which would shame LeBron James. In his wildest dreams, he couldn't shoot 87% for a series. Okay, so what did I tell you all year? I told you again and again, and you made one good point. When Kawhi was a Spur, he was the 4th wheel. He wasn't even the 2nd wheel or the 3rd. He was the 4th wheel. And how he won the MVP of that 2014 finals when my team blew LeBron and company off the floor in 5 games, I don't know, because you could have flipped a coin and you could have come up with any of the 4 stars in San Antonio, but they chose him for, I guess, because of the defense that he played on LeBron. But to your point, LeBron still put up numbers just in games. It would be 2, 3, 4, and 5. He did pretty well on LeBron, and LeBron was pretty quiet, especially in the 2 games in Miami, which were games 3 and 4. Okay, so the point was he goes to Toronto, to your point, nobody expected much. They have a really good team because Siakam played much better last year as the the second star. And obviously Kyle Lowry and Van Vliet, you talk about dogs, mentally tough dogs. Okay, so the point was, yeah, he won another Finals MVP. But I told you all year, he's not the closer of the Clippers. I don't know how many times I have to tell you, Lou Williams was the closer. And help me out. Did Lou Williams even want to go to the bubble in the first place? He did not. He almost opted out of the bubble, and at the last minute, somehow...
He opted out mentally. He was there physically.
He opted out mentally. And then, I'm not saying he made it an excuse, but he took a little excursion to Atlanta because he wanted to go honor a father figure of his in Atlanta. So he went to the service, and then we all know he went lemon pepper Lou, went to Magic City, and it was a bad look for the Clippers. And I said at that point, this is not a united basketball team because nobody seemed to want to be in the bubble. Pat Bev took his break and then had to quarantine, and then he had an injury, right? And Trez took a long break, obviously his grandmother. But he stayed out for a long time and missed all the exhibition games and the seeding games, and then he had to try to play his way into shape. And yet, in the end, it was about Lou Williams. Guess what Lou Williams shot for this series from the three-point line? He shot 4 of 27. To do the math, that's 15% of his threes. I told you, the guy I used to know and love last year, he was the guy who would have ended these games. Games 5, 6, and 7. In the 3rd or the 4th quarter, he would have said, no, get out of my way, I got this. And he'd have a salvo of 15 straight points. You've seen it 100 times
I have, but Skip, but don't you think that's odd? A team with 2 superstars, and you have a guy coming off the bench, and he's your closer. You got Kawhi Leonard, who's a 2-time Finals MVP. You got Paul George, who's an All-NBA player, a multiple-time All-Star, and you're asking a guy that comes off the bench to be the closer. You don't find anything wrong with that?
How many times he won 6th Man of the Year? 3 times. So he is the team's closer, and they kept looking to him, and there was nothing there. So look at the 3 straight 4th quarters. Where was Lou Williams in those 3 4th quarters? Nowhere to be found. He took 7 total shots in 3 straight 4th quarters. I kept saying, go, do it, give him the ball, let him operate.
No. I'm not going to let you put that on Lou. Because there were 3 4th quarters in which Kawhi Leonard, he had 0 points last night. He had 2 points another night. 3 points.
No, wrong.
In the 4th quarter? Go ahead.
I'm talking about these 3 closeout games in the 4th quarter. Kawhi was really good because in Game 5 last Friday night, Kawhi scored 13 points in the 4th quarter. That'll work. Made all of his free throws, made 3 of 5 threes. And they still got blown off the floor 38-25 because Denver made 7 of 9 threes. Game 6, another closeout game. Kawhi was pretty good in the 4th quarter. He scored 9 points. And again, Denver made 7 of 9 threes. It's hard to overcome that, and they got blown off the floor.
No, that's not what you said, Skip. Hold on. Just a second. It's hard to overcome that. But you didn't say that when the Rockets made 7 of 9 threes and made that run on the Lakers. You didn't say anything about it's hard to overcome.
The Rockets lost a key piece to their puzzle. You know it, and I know it. Daniel House, and that thing was over.
Will Barton is not playing for the Nuggets.
Lou Williams, in 3 straight closeout 4th quarters, was 3 of 7. Not terrible, but that's a grand total of 7 points he scored. He just wasn't shooting. He wasn't part of the action. every play started with Kawhi. And I kept telling you, I first guessed this, I told you again and again, they have dangerously declined on offense because it's all about flip it to Kawhi on the wing, let him go against two. They doubled him every time, let him try to dribble, dribble, dribble. Maybe he can beat it, maybe he can get it in the lane. And what was the weapon that I always said that he had second only to Michael Jordan's mid-range jump shot? Did you see him take or make any last night?
No.
He quit shooting them. I don't know why. If you can explain it to me, you're way beyond me.
Because
the ultimate weapon he did not utilize.
Because, Skip, it wasn't falling. What I saw last night was a guy crying every time he shot a shot. He was flailing. Like Pat Bev says about Yoke, that's what every time he shot the ball. Tell me one time in which Kawhi shot the ball that he didn't think he got fouled. He's got his hands up in there. He's looking at the official. Skip, do you remember Game 3? Mm-hmm. They won a game in which Kawhi Leonard had 3 points in the fourth quarter. So you kept giving me these numbers. He had this many points and this many.
Well, he did. In the first 2 closeout games, he was really good. Last night, he was pathetic.
Let me ask you this. When you needed buckets, could Kawhi Leonard give you those buckets?
I told you he wasn't the closer of this team.
No. The best player in the world's got to be the closer.
And remember, in the first 2 closeout fourth quarters, Game 5 and Game 6, they went in up 7 the first one and up 2. And he was really good because he had a lead to try to get home.
And what happened?
He was doing the best he could. You can't blame him for those
Yes, you
two.
can. That's what we do.
Last night, they were already done going to the fourth quarter. They were down 8, and you could see the handwriting all over the Orlando wall.
I text Steve, my great producer, me and him was talking.
Yeah.
I said, it's over. In a game of this magnitude, Skip, this is what makes football so unique, is that the underdog, the longer you go in the game and the closer he stays to the team that's the favorite, the more the team that's favored starts to tighten up because they're not supposed to be in this situation. You saw that last night. The farther this game got into the third quarter, into the fourth quarter, and the Clippers realized they were far too deep, they couldn't swim back to shore, and then all of a sudden, everything was clanked. Paul George shooting balls off the side of the backboard. But Kawhi Leonard airballing shots, and Yoke and Murray just kicking, just cooking. They kept them, think about this, they double Yoke almost every time. They said, we're not going to make you a scorer, we're going to make you a facilitator. He said, okay.
Okay.
Don't look over you, take that.
That guy, you can have your Luka. That guy's the closest thing to Larry Bird we've seen since Larry Bird. That guy, the Joker, turned, unbelievably, the vaunted Clippers defense into a joke. He shredded it at every turn. In fact, last night he only scored, 16 points? But look what he had. 22 rebounds and 13 assists.
They made him into a...
And he had 3 block shots. And I thought his rim protection, especially on Kawhi last night, was superlative. He just took the lane away from Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah. Now, I want you to say it, and I want everybody to say, because Kawhi Leonard should be held to the same standard. If this was LeBron...
So you're saying Kawhi is equal to LeBron? Is that
He's
what you're
never
saying?
been. He's never been.
Then why would we hold him the same?
But hold on. But y'all been doing it for the longest. You said he was better. Did you not say he was better?
Y'all me.
Hold on. You've never said Kawhi Leonard is a better player in the last 2 years than LeBron James. You've never said that.
3 years ago, I said he had become the best two-way player in basketball.
So you did not...
But obviously, offensively, he can't even sniff LeBron's category.
No. So you've never said in the last year and a half that Kawhi Leonard is a better player than LeBron James.
I have said one man is a better player than LeBron James, and his name is Kevin Durant, and he's not playing.
Hey.
Yeah.
I need you to do this, Internet. I need you to get them detectives on to get this out. I need you to...
Two-way. I've said two-way, but that goes back 3 years ago.
No, this is one way.
I have consistently told you the best player on the planet is Kevin Durant. And I stand by that right now.
There are a lot of analysts, and they know who they are. They're on the other network, and they all of them play basketball. There's a lot of them on TNT, and there's some on the NBA network that said Kawhi Leonard is better than LeBron. Kawhi Leonard should get the same praise. And if he wins this title, he should be in the GOAT conversation. Well, I want him to be in the conversation for gag, because other great players that have had playoffs like this, they've eviscerated them. I remember Magic Johnson, they gave him the nickname Tragic because of what he did in '84. You remember it. You probably was covering the series.
So he had one bad fourth quarter and it happened to be in Game 7, and he should be eviscerated for that? That's
What you mean
you're
one
saying?
game? Skip, he had a 3-1 lead. What great superstars you know have 3-1 lead? Name the superstar that's had a 3-1 lead and gagged it.
13 in the fourth quarter of Game 5 and 9 in the fourth quarter of Game 6. That'll work.
Hold on.
That'll get you home.
No, hold on. I thought it was about winning. When LeBron James give you these virtuosos and he lose, you don't say nothing.
What was the only team who voted as a team to opt out of the whole thing after the Kenosha shooting?
We did.
No, you didn't.
We did.
Your superstar, your quote-unquote best player on the planet said, I don't want to leave. I got too good a shot.
What'd he do?
Yeah.
They was up there talking. He said, I'm bouncing. Let's go.
The Clippers said no. And I got one last point to your Doc point. I was very disappointed in a coach that I love because he just too much sat back and folded his arms and said, they'll figure it out. And they never figured it out because I'm not sure Doc could figure out what was happening because he would see such long stretches of dominance and then he wouldn't go desperate and push a button or do something strategically or psychologically to flip the script because Denver flipped it every time and Mike Malone did outcoach Doc Rivers.
That's a whole different discussion that we need more time for, and I'm sure we'll get back to it.
No mercy.
The Heat continue their hot playoff run by winning Game 1 in overtime over the Celtics. With only seconds left in OT, Jason Tatum got to the rim for what appeared to be a game-tying emphatic dunk, only to get denied by Bam Adebayo for what Magic Johnson called the greatest defensive play in playoff history to give the Heat the win. So, Shannon, was this the greatest defensive play in postseason history?
No, but it was the greatest defensive play I saw last night. I don't think anything was comparable to it. So you mean to tell me a block in Game 1 that would have tied the game is better than a block in a Game 7 of the NBA Finals that would have given them the lead and it helped you, it propelled a team to come back from a 3-1 deficit? Absolutely not. I'm not taking anything away from Bam because I'm not so sure a whole lot of guys would have even challenged him. Not the fact, Skip, because he's like, well, hold on. At worst case scenario, we're going to be tied, and we still got 12 seconds to possibly go down and get the last shot. Second of all, man, I ain't trying to be on no post in no situation like this. So I'm sure all that flashes before Bam's eyes, but that's not the way Bam is built. That's not the way this Miami Heat. I'm not so sure every player, with the exception of Dragic, because he's only 6 foot tall, would have at least tried to block that dunk. Jimmy Butler would have tried it. Jay Crowder would have tried it. I'm not so sure everybody. I'm sure Jones, I think the guy Jones that won the dunk contest, there's no question in my mind he's going to try and block it. Yeah. I don't know about Hero or Duncan Robinson. I don't know if they got the up. But knowing Hero.
I think Hero does.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got the mentality.
He got the makeup. Yeah. He's like, hey, the only one thing can happen, Skip. Either you're going to make it or you're going to miss it. Yep. As simple as that. But, Skip, look, I'm not trying to deny this. It was an unbelievable play given the moment. But, Skip, this was Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The greatest defensive play came in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. We say things that happen as you go further along, like regular season is one thing, playoffs are another thing, finals is something entirely different. And so there's a reason why, Skip, we've seen plays that happen in the regular season. You're like, yeah, that was good. And then we see plays that happen in the playoffs, and you said, okay, that's what set guys apart. So I'm not trying to downplay Bam Adebayo. It was an unbelievable play. And when Tatum turned the corner, I was like, oh, I know he was going to try and flush it. And then Bam's like, nope. And it bent his hand all the way back into the rim. And Bam's like, nah. But that's how they're wired, Skip. When you look at every big shot after big shot, every team making big shot. But it was a great defensive play. It was one of the better defensive plays that you're going to see in playoff history. But LeBron's chase down in a Game 7 of an NBA Finals is still the best defensive play that I've seen.
It was past tense until last night. Magic Johnson, the great Magic Johnson, is exactly right. This took the cake because this was the tone setter. It was the game saver and the tone setter for a Miami underdog team, underdog to the Celtics, underdog obviously to the Bucks in the previous round. Something is brewing in Miami. Something is going on with this team, and you saw it in full force with the left hand of Bam. And what I loved about the block, the reason it was so third level is that he decided to go left-handed. He's a right-handed player, obviously, because he wanted to lean away so there was no chance of a body foul.
Yeah, he'd body fouled him if he was right.
If you go right, you have to body foul him.
Yep.
So he could lean a little bit sideways and go just left-handed. And it's not your dominant hand. It's not your strongest hand. And so he managed to withstand the force of an emerging superstar. And I think Jason Tatum is an emerging superstar.
Oh, yeah, he's on the cusp.
Yep. He had a bad fourth quarter in overtime last night
he
because
took some bad shots, Skip.
He missed all 4 of his
He took some
threes
bad
in
shots.
fourth and overtime. But the point was that Bam, who is the heart and soul, especially of this defensive Miami team, he goes up and lines it up and times it up and nails it and rejects it. And I believe it's going to launch Miami on to win this series. You love the Celtics.
I took the Celtics. I took the Celtics.
And I took the Heat in this one, in large part because of Jimmy Butler. And quick point on Jimmy Butler, we were ranking players the other day on, I think it was Luka we were doing, and I forgot to even put Jimmy Butler in my top 30. And a lot of people probably wouldn't have him in the top 30 because he's not much of a shooter.
Right.
But there are very few players I'd rather have on my team in my foxhole in the fourth quarter of a big playoff
If you go
game.
into battle, you better get him.
Get him. Because you want to talk about got that dog in him, got some mental toughness, knows how to win. Shrewd operator. And that drive shot that he forced through Jason Tatum, I don't know how he did it. I'm not even sure he meant to straight in the drive shot that won the game.
I don't think so either.
I think he just sort of willed it up through him, and it happened to go over the rim, in and down through
Skip, what I like about Jimmy Butler last night, early on through the first 3 quarters, Jason Tatum was giving it to him.
He was.
But Jimmy Butler didn't hang his head on the offensive end. He said, I'm coming right back at you. And that step back 3 skip to put him up, for him, I mean, and that's the thing that you like. A lot of guys, Skip, when somebody's giving them work, they go down and then all of a sudden their offense tails off because they're so frustrated because they can't do anything on the defensive end. But that's not how he operates.
Boston made 3 runs in that game that I thought had put away the Heat, and the Heat would not be put away.
They wouldn't.
They were the opposite of the Clippers. They said, no, we're not going to go away. And by the way, I need to mention, before I get to the second best block ever, Tyler Hero. I didn't see this at Kentucky, and I watched him a lot. I did not see this. It's been a long time since I saw a rookie play with playoff poise and clutch fearlessness. I'm talking about clutch, where he is unafraid of taking and making big shots.
I think the thing is, Skip, is that when you go to Kentucky and you play with so many 5 stars, I mean, I did not see this offensive game, I did not see this from Anthony Davis. I did not see Karl Anthony Towns' offensive game, Skip. I guess because there's so many. Maybe. And there's like, okay, you got to realize he was a 5-star too. He was a 5-star. He was a 5-star. You a 5-star. So they share the ball. So now all of a sudden, Skip, you go to a team like AD, and he's the guy, and they're going to run everything through him, and you're like, dude, you average 13 points in college. How you getting 28 a night? Karl Anthony Towns, how you doing this on a nightly basis? And I think that Jason Tatum, Skip, because they got so many guys at Duke, it's hard for you to set yourself apart. But now all of a sudden, you go to Duke, and you come out in the NBA, and you're like, what the hell was this?
So I thought Andre Iguodala was going to be that guy for that team, because I love him, and I've always loved his intangibles in big games. But all of a sudden, Tyler Hero has taken his spot in the rotation for the large part. And every big play that they seem to make, he's in it somewhere where he looks like he belongs on the floor in these big games.
Skip, they were down 5, and he hit that 3 because he had the ball, and and Kimber ran away, and he realized, oh, he got the ball, and came back, and he pulled up and hit a 3, and it put him right back in the ball game.
Okay. Now to what you call the greatest block ever, that I have often called the most overrated block in NBA history, the chase down Game 7 at Oracle. What was it, 2015?
2016.
2016, if we could see it now. You conveniently leave out each time the role that J.R. Smith played, because J.R. Smith cuts across the face, if we can see it right here, he cuts across the face right there of Iguodala, and it's a bicycle built for 2. It's a huge assist to JR because he was the first one who disrupted the path to the rim of Iguodala, who should have just dunked it, but he couldn't because JR got in his way and slowed him up and left him as a sitting duck for LeBron James to chase down.
I saw LeBron dunk one like that against Houston. Up and under. Somebody went over the top of him. He up and under and dunked it.
Okay, we don't care about that. We care about this block that you always call the greatest block in NBA history.
It is.
It is not. It was assisted hugely by J.R. Smith. And you can say J.R. cost LeBron game 1 of 20, whatever year that was, 18 at Oracle. But he saved LeBron for this one. He set up LeBron for this one.
He saved it because he made those big threes in the third quarter when Golden State was like, Skip, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a prime example. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I'll give James Harrison, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He comes and sits in for our show. Against the Arizona Cardinals, right before the half, he had a 100-yard INT return. And people say that was the greatest defensive play in Super Bowl history. That was one up in 2014 by Malcolm Butler. Now, which play? Now, one play happened right before the half. The other play happened at the end of the game. So tell the people at home why Malcolm Butler had the best defensive play in Super Bowl history.
This happened at the end of the game. Last night happened at the end of the game.
Thank you.
Okay, so what are you saying? Where's the James Harrison analogy in these two blocks?
James Harrison, Skip, it was the first half.
I mean, are you saying that Bam blocked the shot at the end of the first half?
No, I'm saying if he makes that shot, what's the score of the ball game? Are they up 5? Does that put them up 3? Does that put them up 4? If Jason Tatum flushes that, they're a tied ball game. If Andre Iguodala makes that shot, what's the score of the game? Are they up, tied, or down?
You tell me.
I don't know. I'm asking you. You watched it? If he makes that, if Andre Iguodala lays that ball up, is the score tied? Are they down or are they up?
You say it saved the game, but there was a lot of game left. Wasn't it tied?
You know.
It was tied.
Everybody knows whoever scored first after that lull, because there had been like a 2 or almost 3 minute period in which nobody had scored.
Right.
Everybody knew whoever scored first.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Did LeBron James make the game-winning 3 in Game 7 at Oracle?
Skip, hold on. Did Bam make the game-winning shot?
Well, I'm asking you a question.
No.
You didn't answer. No. Wait. Kyrie Irving made it.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Skip.
Oh,
Skip.
Kyrie made it.
Hold on. Magic didn't say that was the greatest shot ever made. Magic Johnson said that was the greatest defensive play. So how did you move the goalpost from a defensive play to making a game-winning shot?
I don't move the goalpost. I just score in your end zone.
But no, I'm just
repeatedly.
asking.
I scored again.
Okay, so did Bam make the game-winning shot?
How do you explain J.R. Smith's role in the greatest dunk ever?
Hold on.
How can you call it the greatest dunk when he clearly slowed up Iguodala and made him a sitting duck for LeBron James chase down?
So what role did Jimmy Butler play?
Did Andre Iguodala see LeBron coming? No, it's another sneak attack from LeBron James, and I don't love sneak attack dunks.
Hold on,
you can't call it the greatest block ever.
It was. Given the moment, Skip, this is game 1.
Yeah.
Skip, there's still 6 games to be played.
They're a big underdog. That set the tone. Saved the night.
Let me ask you a question. Were they more of an underdog to a 73-9 win team with a unanimous MVP being down 3-1?
Wait a second. The Cleveland Cavaliers had the GOAT. That's what you told me. He's the GOAT.
Skip.
What are you talking about?
Let me ask you a question. Did they go in as the underdog? A simple yes or a simple no?
I don't even remember what it was.
Yes, you do remember.
I'm not sure about that.
Skip, stop. You know they were underdog. The team was 73-9.
Did they have Kevin Durant? No, they didn't have Kevin Durant.
Oh, my goodness. So
did they lose Draymond Green for Game 5?
Okay,
yes,
did the Boston Celtics have Larry Bird? Did they have Kevin McHale?
Well, what does that matter?
Exactly. What does that matter?
Well, because they were very vulnerable because Steph Curry's never been very good in fourth quarters of big games. Go look at his stats in that game.
Skip.
He was a nightmare.
Go look at Steph Curry's thing. And he averaged more points in the finals than Larry Bird, than Dwayne Wade, and Kobe Bryant. But he's been terrible.
Want me to tell you his fourth quarter stats that night?
Skip, see you take one game.
It was a nightmare.
Hold on. There were 2 games in Larry Bird's first NBA Finals. There were 2 games in which he scored 8 points. So is Larry Bird not any good?
So are you saying Steph is better than Larry Bird?
No, see what you do? You try to move it again, but I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to let you. I believe LeBron James had the greatest block. Given the moment, given the circumstances.
I'm going to set the goalposts right in front of Iguodala, just the way J.R. Smith did, and you will not touch those goalposts because you have no comeback for that because it was a bicycle built for two.
Yeah.
You know it and I know it, and you just try to ignore it and go on with your point.
Did it happen?
You're undercut. You're disqualified.
How?
It's over. Caveat.
Hold on.
Hell, it's got a big asterisk.
Skip.
Assisted by J.R. Smith.
Iguodala was in the dunk contest on numerous occasions.
Did
so
he
clearly
did
has
he try to dunk that?
He had.
No, he couldn't.
Why?
J.R. Smith took the dunk path away.
You just saw LeBron James do the same thing to Jeff Green against Houston.
I don't care about what happened.
But see, you don't care.
I don't care.
Because I just blew your argument out the water.
Oh,
I just blew it out the water.
Yeah, yours has been blown out for a long time.
I blew it out the water.
Yeah.
Skip, I am sorry that your team, that you've been hyping, and everybody's been hyping, your past the parade.
Is this a Clippers question?
Back to the basement you go. Because, Skip, ain't no way you can get past
We
this.
saw the greatest defensive play of all time last night by Bam.
Oh, you know what, Skip Bayless?
Bam.
You know what? Just for you, and we saw the greatest choke job last night by Kawhi.
Yeah.
Heimlich.
Don't do that on air, Sean.
Heimlich.
It's alarming.
Yo got
Alarming.
choked.
It's a lot. It's a lot. All right, I want to leave the bubble. I promise we'll get back to everything that happened there. But, guys, Brett Favre doesn't agree with Bruce Arians publicly criticizing Tom Brady following the Buccaneers' Week 1 loss to the Saints. Favre did say that if they had a mutual understanding that Arians would publicly be critical, then things would be okay. But if not, Arians is, quote, barking up the wrong tree. Dissension could easily enter quickly. Whew. Shannon, does Brett Favre have a point?
Skip Bayless, what did I say yesterday? Brett Favre said exactly what I said yesterday. You see, Skip Bayless, you like you do me, you don't want to give me credit because all you do is say I insert myself in a situation. That's what Shannon would do. And
I must have read these quotes wrong.
what did Jenny say? Jenny said if they had an understanding, well, then that's okay. What did I say yesterday without hearing Brett Favre's words? What did I say yesterday?
I don't remember that.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Skip Bayless.
Okay, so you think they had a mutual truce?
Skip.
You know that?
Skip, no, this is what I said, Skip. I said, when I went to Baltimore, I talked to Brian Billick and explained to him.
Yeah.
I said, now, if Tom Brady
I got that.
talked to Bruce Arians, and he says, look, I would prefer you not do this, and BA did this, then that's going to be a problem. But if they did not have that conversation, well, I don't see what the problem is, because this is who BA is. We're not used to a head coach calling out the quarterback publicly. I give you that. Having played with a great quarterback, I'm sure there were conversations behind closed doors that John Elway had with Mike Shanahan and also Dan Reeves, who was my first head coach. I'm sure there were conversations. But Skip, in all my years of playing with John and playing with other, Mike and Dan Reeves never did that publicly. That's what I'm saying. But that's not how BA operates. If Brady had a conversation before he signed the line.
Okay, I'm saying he did not.
Well, I don't know what you want him to do then, Skip, because that's the way he coaches. That's the way he's Skip, his offense is fun-loving. You're going to have a great time in it. He's going to give you an opportunity to throw the ball down the field and make big-time plays. But he's also going to be hypercritical, not just of his quarterback, of other positions. And having covered the game for 40 years, you know most coaches are critical of other players when they make a mistake. You cover, maybe you covered Tom Landry of the Cowboys, and you know.
Maybe.
You did?
Well, did I?
Okay, so
wrote a whole book about it.
So you know how Coach Landry was with the other players other than Roger Staubach.
I knew him extremely well.
That's how Dan Reeves was. Dan Reeves was a chip off the old block from Coach Landry.
Okay,
so,
Tom Landry was Belichick before Belichick.
Yes.
Because in film sessions, he would scrutinize and criticize the quarterback's play to the team in the closed-door team film session.
Well, Dan didn't even do that. There were conversations that he and John would have in a private meeting when they watched film together in Dan's office. So Dan never did that. So that's my only thing, Skip. I agree. If Tom Brady has an agreement that BA is not going to publicly do this, and he did this, well, we got a problem. Okay. And you could have an even bigger problem. But if there was no conversation, I don't get what the gist is. But I told you, quarterbacks are real sensitive. Who in their feelings?
Here's my point. I have been covering this league back to the early 70s when I covered the Los Angeles Rams right here in L.A.
Well, I knew you covered the Rams. I didn't know you had gone to Dallas.
James Harris was the quarterback of the Rams. Pat Hayden was the quarterback. Ron Jaworski was the quarterback.
Vince Ferragamo?
He came a little later.
Okay.
The point is, in all my years covering this league, I have never, ever heard a head coach publicly not just criticize, but almost ridicule a top 10 quality quarterback.
Right.
An Elway, a Marino.
No.
Favre. And that's why Brett Favre, you just don't do it. It's an unwritten rule. You just don't do it. He's the franchise. It's such a hard position to play. It's hard enough without you piling onto him if he plays poorly. Okay, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that Tom told Bruce Arians before the season started, if I play poorly, go ahead and publicly criticize me. What if they had that mutual understanding?
Right.
Did he play poorly on Sunday? No.
Yes.
He did not play poorly.
Yes, he did, Skip.
So, as Brett Favre said, Tom's performance was not what we've come to expect from him, but he said, I'll say this, it wasn't far off. Yet Bruce Arians is talking about Tom as if he played poorly. I'm looking for that other quote. Here it is. He said, Tom knew he didn't play very well. It's not what he expects from himself, or do we expect? Okay, let's analyze that statement. Tom Brady, I insist to you, made one terrible choice and throw, and it resulted in a Janoris Jenkins highway robbery pick six that went the other way. He was cluing, he jumped the route, and he took it home. Way to go, advantage, Jackrabbit. After that, I want you to show me how many bad choices he made, because Bruce Arians threw him under the bus right after the game for the throw into what I thought was quarters, and he called cover 2, and he said Mike should have broken off that route and come across his face, stayed underneath the coverage. And instead, after he looked at the game tape, Bruce Arians said on Monday, no doubt Mike made the mistake on that play. He should have continued his route, and Brady threw it up high to a 6'5" wide out who can play like a tight end, and it was not Tom Brady's fault on that first interception. Was that? I guess it was first.
First, that was the first.
Okay, so my point to you is this. Tom Brady threw for 239 yards in this game. According to Pro Football Focus, he had 6 what they call big-time throws. That tied Aaron Rodgers for 6 big-time throws at Minnesota. But here's the hidden stat. 4 times in that game, Tom Brady threw deep balls on which pass interference was called because it was deserved. 4 times they got huge chunk yards. They had chunk plays on pass interference that does not count in the 239. The grand total of those 4 plays on yards gained was 101 yards. So if you add that onto his 239, you have 340 yards passing. And I'm not even counting what could have happened if there had not been a pass interference and Mike Evans or little Scotty Miller had caught the ball cleanly and continued to run with it. He might have had 400 yards passing. That is not a poor performance. So it was not deserved criticism from the head coach. If Tom Brady had stunk it up all day long and they had a mutual understanding, then I'd say, I'm fine with that. He did not stink it up. He made one mistake the whole day and made 6 big-time throws, which tied for the lead. And by the way, Pro Football Focus ranked him the 8th best quarterback performance of the Sunday, of the weekend.
You see what you're doing here?
I'm not doing anything. I'm just telling you, that's not a poor performance.
I thought the only stat Tom Brady cared about was winning. But now, in order to keep Tom Brady up in that pantheon of great players, quarterback play right now, we talk about big-time throws. Skip Bayless, if you don't mind me asking, tell the people at home what was Tom Brady's QBR? 35. Is that good? On a scale of 0 to 100, with 50 being average, he was 35.
You know why? You know what kills your QBR? Interception.
Who threw him?
The first one was not his fault, according to Bruce Arians.
So let me get this right. So Pro Football Focus listed those 6 big-time throws. What about those other throws, those bad, poor throws? Were any of those in there? You see what you do, Skip? I can do that all day. If I want to make somebody look good, I can just accentuate the good and never mention the bad. So he had no bad throws?
There was way, way, way more good than bad. I'm sorry. You called it a poor performance, and even Brett Favre said it wasn't far off from the Tom we know and love.
This is what I know about quarterbacks. They always protect their own. So let me get this straight. Did Baker Mayfield play poorly? Because he had a 33 QBR, and Tom Brady had a 35. So how much better did Tom Brady play?
Okay, well, what does that matter?
But it matters because...
He threw interceptions. Baker threw interceptions at Baltimore.
And he threw interceptions at New Orleans. Thank you.
And thank you for bringing up New Orleans. You picked who to win the NFC. Help me out. Oh, New Orleans.
Yes.
Will Tom Brady play a tougher game? Will he have a higher degree of difficulty than opening game against division rival on the road with no preseason games, nothing but virtual OTAs, and having never been to battle with most of his receivers except for Gronkowski, and you're playing the best defense you're going to see down the whole schedule on the road in game 1? And you're saying he played poorly?
Let me ask you a question.
Bruce Arians is so out of line, he looks pathetic.
Let me ask you a question. And who did you pick to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl?
The AFC?
Yeah.
Baltimore.
Exactly. That's who Baker Mayfield played with no preseason on the road in Baltimore.
I'm defending Baker Mayfield.
No, you can't defend the indefensible. He played poorly. Tom Brady played poorly. It's okay. And BA called him out on it.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding.
He actually played very well.
A 35 QBR says no. A 6.4 yard per attempt says no. A pick 6 says no.
Do you realize 4 deep pass interferences? If you counted them in the stats,
Skip, you
what do you
can't.
think it?
Skip, look. If that was the case,
Did you like those 4 throws?
Skip, if you could count pass interferences, I need an extra 1,000 yards added on to mine and an extra 50, 60 catches.
He threw 6 deep balls that were right on the money. And Shannon Sharp told me he was a noodle arm. Who knew?
So what about those bad throws?
Wow.
How many bad throws did he have?
I saw 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
One was really bad.
Why didn't Pro Football Focus list those?
Well, they do.
No, they didn't.
Take it into account.
No, no.
Eighth best performance.
No. You say they listed those 6 big-time throws.
Because they happened.
So I need you to give me a...
Nobody had that many except for Aaron Rodgers.
I need, just like you gave me a definitive number on how many big-time throws, I need a definitive number on how many bad throws.
Silly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's silly now.
Yeah.
Because you don't want you got to look... He didn't look good. And B.A. called his butt out.
Oh, stop it.
Play better.
He was wrong. You're wrong.
Play better.
You know it.
Tommy, play better. Yep. You don't want criticism. Play better.
Boy, there was a lot of good out there.
No, I didn't see it.
Right.
No mercy.
The Lakers will now face the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals after the Clippers gave up a 3-1 series lead to Denver. LeBron and AD will now have to focus on Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray after a majority assumed that it would be an all-LA matchup against Kawhi and Paul George. So, Shannon, what does the Clippers' collapse mean for the Lakers?
I mean, anything. That means they're in the Western Conference Final and they're going to face a foe that many people didn't think they were going to face. The Nuggets built their team to play basketball. The Clippers built their team to try to beat the Lakers. But along the way, remember, Skip Benson, I told you this. Oh, they just see that team in on the top floor. They're in the basement. They're not worried about anybody else. And I told you that. Keep overlooking all these teams, worried about the Lakers, and you see what it's going to get you. And this is what we started to see. As the pressure mounted, the Clippers started to gag. And what we saw was when there was expectations and Kawhi Leonard was the man, he gagged. He's never had success when he's been the man or there was expectation. When Tim Duncan left, what did he do in San Antonio? What did he do, Skip? Okay, when he went to Toronto.
Well, wait a second. When Tim Duncan left, remember what happened in Game 1 at Oracle?
I don't know what happened.
Western Conference
I don't know
Finals?
what happened. What happened?
Well, my team was up 23 on Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors when they actually had a superstar on their team who was unstoppable. Up 23 in the third quarter, and Zaza Pacheep shot happened to Kawhi Leonard. That's what happened.
I remember in a game...
His ankle turned, and he was gone for the rest of the series.
Was that Game 6 in which they blew the Houston Rockets out when Kawhi didn't play with that ankle?
Did not play.
Oh, so now what we're seeing, Skip, is that the Lakers saying they can play a lot of different ways. Now, obviously, the big is going to come back into play this one because you got to have somebody to try to match up with Yoke. You got to have somebody to try to bother him, and JaVale can bother him with verticality. He's going to have to get out on those pick and rolls and things of that, Dwight Howard. So it's nice to have once Zubac's getting foul trouble, Skip, where do you go? Your tallest man now is 6'8", 6'9", Marcus Morris. And you're trying to deal with a 7-foot guy that's skilled. There's a difference between 7-foot Steven Adams and 7-foot Jokic, because Jokic can play. Skip, the Lakers have been saying all the right things all along. We're going to play basketball. We play who we play. Hopefully we play well enough that in the end it's good enough. You and the Clippers and everybody else was always talking about Lakers, Lakers, Lakers. You never gave people the respect. You never gave teams the respect they deserve because all you concerned yourself with the Lakers. Now, 1, 2, 3 Cancun. Hey, Pat Bev, you know Dame said he didn't take that flight just yet going to Cancun. If you want to, y'all can go half on that private jet and get you right on over there, bruh.
By the way, 1, 2, 3 Cancun doesn't really work here because that's what a team says when it's down 3-1 and it's battle cry going.
So what would they? What would they?
3 Cancun.
What would they say?
They just quit before tip-off.
What?
The game 5.
So what did they say? What do the Clippers say?
They said, "Bring on the Lakers." That's what they kept saying. Game after game, let's just bring on the Lakers.
Okay.
They were built to beat your team. They were conditioned psychologically to beat your team.
So whose fault is that?
I believe they would have beaten your team if they could have gotten to your team.
They could have. They played. They were in the playoffs.
Unfortunately, they would not take this team that you're about to play seriously enough until it was way too late. And once this team got on third and fourth quarter rolls, it destroyed the Clippers psychologically. Jokic, the Joker, turned their defense into a joke because he picked it apart. I believe that your team will win this in 5 games over Denver because it got shown how seriously you have to take that team.
Oh, yeah.
Your team is better than Denver. Your team, I believe it will be Dwight Howard for the most part defending Joker because he can do it. He's a former multi-defensive player of the year. His feet are quicker than JaVale's. JaVale doesn't have quick enough feet to deal with this guy. Dwight is savvy enough. He's sort of, if you will, nasty enough. Like he knows all the tricks on defense.
Right.
He will bother Jokic more than.
But Jokic's good at getting no fouls, Skip. You know how he comes through and you're like, oh, you see it? He got me.
Okay. But Zubac is just too nice a kid. You know, he'd try hard and he would just be on a string. He was just lost. Joker was playing with them. He was toying with them after a while. And the pass he threw at the end, this is a rub it in.
You talking about over the head.
Do we have that by what? Yeah,
that's Globetrotters.
Yeah, this is just he's just toying with you. He's just clowning you. He throws it, no look, over
and
the head.
And Bam tried to hurt the man.
He did. He tried to take
Bam dirty. That's dirty ball, bruh.
Yeah.
Look at this. Come on, bro. It ain't that serious.
And actually, Pat Bev actually took the worst of that.
He should have.
Yeah. I was afraid Pat Bev hurt his knee.
Oh, well.
Look at this.
If he'd have been playing like that the whole game, maybe the outcome would have been different. Now, all of a sudden, he want to get tough and hard foul, down 20.
Here's what Denver is all about. It's ironic that the man who gets attributed the ultimate quote about the NBA is Doc Rivers. It's a make or miss league. Denver will shoot the lights out. It's like contagious three-point shooting because Joker will find open three-point shooters the way LeBron James can.
Yes.
He's right there in LeBron's stratosphere for being able to look over the defense at 7 feet tall and throw baseball passes to wide open three-point shooters who shoot it with conviction. Like the body language of the Nuggets is when they push into a three, you just think, that's good. Michael Porter Jr., he is just stroking threes like he means it. So here's the problem with that. Look what Denver did in the fourth quarters of games 5, 6, and 7. 3 straight closeout games. They shot 64% in the fourth quarters from 3. They made 16 of 25. That's hard to beat. Meanwhile, the Clippers in those 3 straight fourth quarters of the closeout games shot 6 of 33 from 3. That's 18%. What do you think's going to happen when they shoot 64% and you shoot 18% from three. Because three is the math of 3-3-3 will kill the twos, right?
That's if you're making twos.
If you're making twos, which they weren't even making twos.
Right.
So my point is, I know what will happen right on schedule. LeBron and company, they're smart enough. They'll come out and take them very seriously from wire to wire.
Oh, absolutely.
And watch, Denver will turn back into pumpkins as the clock strikes midnight. They will start missing more threes than they make because it's just going to happen. They've been just crazy hot from three in 6 straight closeout games, 3 against Utah, then 3 against the Clippers.
Right.
Well, again, do I think LeBron, they're just better. They'll win this in 5 games. They'll know how to do it. They'll know. And by the way, remember, the Clippers loved the LeBron matchup, as we saw in the first 2 games, opening night, Christmas Day, because they had 3 defenders. They didn't have Marcus yet, but with Marcus Morris, they could go Kawhi, Paul George, Marcus Morris on LeBron. They had 3. They could just keep trading
Well,
off.
then why you didn't put it? So that means you got 3 guys with Pat Bev to do something with Jamal Murray. What y'all gonna do with Maul?
They didn't care about Jamal Murray. They cared about him.
Okay.
They wanted him.
Okay.
This was going to be the Battle of Los Angeles, and they overlooked the team that was sitting in their way.
Skip, you know what this reminds you of? And I know you'll remember this. You remember the Olympics? Dan and Dave? They had that big promo they rolled out. Oh, this gonna be it. This gonna be it. And Dave and Dave flamed out.
He did.
And that's what everybody built this. This is Lakers, Clippers, the Battle of L.A. And on the way, one team flamed out. Your team flamed out. Skip, you got to call it like it is. Just say, I want you to say it with me, Skip. Say, they choked. Shannon, they choked.
I already said that in our A block.
Everybody.
I said
I
the team with all the dogs played like choking dogs.
They're so mentally tough. You know, LeBron is not that assassin.
Yep.
You
So this is what I want to say.
What you want to say?
I want to congratulate LeBron James on winning his 4th ring. It is over. He did it. You should have the parade. How about?
No.
Why don't you have it maybe next Monday?
No, we're going to play the game because that's what y'all did. See, y'all thought y'all could cheat the process. Y'all wanted to skirt the process. All you wanted to do was just get to the Western Conference Finals and play. But there's a process. There's a protocol that must be adhered to, and you weren't willing to adhere to it. So what about this notion? All Kawhi cares about is the playoffs. Let's see what happens when he meets the... Okay, he got to the playoffs. He gagged it. He spit the bit. And I want everybody... Skip. In this next segment, I got something. I've been waiting on this. It just came through to me. And we're going to talk about this because we got old Chris Broussard.
Really?
But I told Chris to come with his boy, and he wouldn't do it.
So my final thought is that Kawhi Leonard, in 7 games against Denver, led his team in scoring, rebounding, assists, steals, and blocks. I don't know. Is that good? I think that's pretty great.
How many, Skip, let me ask you a question.
He choked. He gagged.
Skip, let me ask you a question in the playoffs. In the playoffs, how many times you think LeBron James have done that?
Done what?
Led his team in points, rebound, assists, steals, and block shots. Remember, he did that for an entire series of everybody that touched the court. Let everybody. And you want to talk about that. But at the end of the day, I thought you said all Kawhi Leonard cared about was dubs. He didn't care about stats. Now you see what you did.
All he cared about was LeBron James.
All he cared about was losing. He should not have listened to his Uncle Dennis and stayed his butt in Toronto.
So
and guess where he'd have been?
Lakers and
I don't know where I don't even talk about the Lakers just yet. I don't even want to talk about old Goat J just yet.
You know, I should just pick this a sweep because it's a joke. Joker.
Okay.
You picked the Lakers. I mean, you picked the Clippers.
Well, I'm feeling good about the Lakers. We're in purple for a reason today.
No mercy.
The Nuggets came back from another double-digit deficit to knock the Clippers out of the playoffs. Game 7 last night. Kawhi went a cold 6 for 22 from the floor for 14 points, and Paul George chipped in with just 10 points on 4 of 16 shooting. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joining us now. Chris, I know this one is a little hard for you. Who is to blame for the Clippers' collapse?
Jenny, there's so many ways I could go. I mean, obviously, their 3 top scorers combined for 31 points on 26% shooting. I could talk about Lou Williams leaving his game in the lemon pepper sauce at Magic City. He wasn't good at all in the bubble. I could talk about Doc Rivers getting out-coached yet again. I said on this show he got out-coached against Dallas by Rick Carlisle. He got out-coached by Mike Malone with Denver. I could talk about all that. But I'm going to get to the crux of the matter. And to me, the bottom line with why the Clippers will be watching the Western Conference Finals like the rest of us on TV is that I have never in my 25 years of covering the NBA seen a team that has won nothing, a team that hasn't done anything, to treat the regular season with such nonchalance, such disdain, such disregard. They didn't care at all about the regular season. They didn't think they needed it to develop chemistry. They just, I mean, whether it was Kawhi and Paul George not practicing or missing games, they did not have the right attitude. They just wanted to show up in April, May, and June, or in this case, August, September, and October, which they won't get to, and get to the playoffs and try to win a championship. And in having that attitude, it took away their identity that they built last year. They were a hard-nosed, gritty, tenacious, unselfish team last year. And they lost that identity. And if they had any identity at all this year, it was the identity of prima donnas. I told you guys how I was hearing rumblings as the bubble was opening. And I was hearing that the Clippers, a lot of their players didn't even want to go. We know Lou Williams was hesitant. And I thought about changing my pick then because I was hearing the wrong things, but I stuck with them. And lo and behold, it was true. They did not have the right attitude. We know at the boycott meeting, they voted along with the Lakers, but they voted to leave and not play. And so they needed an attitude adjustment. For all the other things that went wrong, they mentally were not right really this whole season. I think ultimately this will help them. It'll humble them. It'll motivate them for next year. I think that load management, unless it is absolutely, positively necessary for Kawhi Leonard to get through a season, I think that'll be thrown out the window. Doc Rivers even said it last night. Guys were tired. Guys were fatigued. They obviously didn't keep themselves in shape during the 4-month layoff. And so I think ultimately they had the wrong attitude. They thought they were the best team on paper. We're going to show up. Kawhi's going to lead us to the promised land. And obviously it failed.
Chris, I appreciate all that. But you know the reason why they lost. Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is supposed to be a superstar. Now, this is what was said about Kawhi. This is what was said about Kawhi because I said to Skip at the beginning of the show, people had said Kawhi Leonard was the best player. And this is what they said.
It's from your minions?
No. Steve sent me this.
Steve.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
After an impressive run through the 2019 playoffs, Kawhi Leonard has taken the mantle as best player in the NBA. They polled 20 coaches, executives, and scouts. Some guy, Tim Beauchamp from ESPN. Of the 20 coaches, Kawhi Leonard got 12 votes. Giannis Antetokounmpo got 6. James Harden got 2. LeBron James got none.
I think it's Bon Ton.
Okay.
He's Louisiana, where Chris is from.
Okay, Bon Ton.
Yeah.
He did the poll. Hold on, Skip Bayless. In 2018, after a Saturday night loss to the San Antonio Spurs, Skip Bayless, the segment was a new king. Skip Bayless came out here and said, move over, LeBron. Kawhi Leonard is the best player in the NBA. This year, Skip Bayless trotted out here with a Kawhi jersey on, said Kawhi Leonard is the best player in the NBA.
You never said that.
Don't make me do this, Skip. Skip, I don't want to pull the video.
I said Kevin Durant.
No.
I've been consistent with it.
But anyway, here's the thing. This was all Kawhi, his team. Have you ever seen a superstar? I'm talking about a superstar on top of super. It's happened once. Steph did it. And now Kawhi, because Kawhi is the best player. What I've been told, a lot of, I'm just old football guy. You know, just got muscles and, I ain't played basketball. So, and that's all I am, Skip. But all these other experts told me, Kawhi, he is an assassin. He's a cyborg. He feels no emotion. He's just ruthless. He's cut from that cloth like Kobe. And Michael Jordan and LeBron, just a nice guy. He wanted everybody to like him. And when Kawhi signed with the Clippers, it shook the foundation of the NBA. Everybody was so surprised.
Well, they thought he was going to sign with LeBron.
And guess what? He wished he had her. He said, I could have had LeBron. So you took Paul George over LeBron James and AD. How'd that work out for you? This is what Kawhi
Can I say this?
Go ahead.
I was going to say this. Look, Kawhi obviously came up small. There's no defending what he did. But I'll say we've seen them all do it. We saw Tragic Johnson in 1984. We saw Larry Bird, 8 points, 12 points in his first NBA Finals. We saw Isaiah Thomas throw the ball away to Larry Bird in 1987. We saw LeBron James against Dallas in 2011. This was Kawhi's moment to fall short. Just like the rest of them. Let's see what he's made of. I'll give you that, Shannon. Let's see what he's made of. Does he learn from them and become better like those 4 guys I mentioned, or does he crumble? I think he learns from it and becomes better.
But has Kawhi ever received the criticism of any great players in his life? He has been beyond reproach.
He hasn't been in that position. Let's face it.
Hold on, with 2 Finals MVP, that's what that's what people were telling me. Because everybody says, would you rather win regular season MVP or Finals MVP? Give me the Finals MVP because that's the championship. Okay, he got 2 of those. He should have been in that breath. 3 double-digit leads by 12 points last night, 15 and 19. 2 points in the second half. 1 for 11 from the floor. Minus 20. 0 points in the fourth quarter. 0 for 5 in the fourth quarter. Minus 12. That's your game. Is that your king? Is that your king?
My king?
Go, James.
Kevin Durant is my king.
Put his butt down back in the basement and don't let him out till next year.
Wait a second. Who in back-to-back finals won MVP by going head-to-head with LeBron and shooting it right in his grill?
This is not about Kevin Durant.
It's about Kevin Durant.
We're talking about Kawhi Leonard.
I just don't want you to put words in my mouth because I have said repeatedly on this show, Kevin Durant is the best player on the planet.
Did you come out here with a Kawhi jersey on? Have you been fronting out here with Kawhi New Balance, them PPEs?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
because
then.
What did I tell you from the start? For 5 years, when he was a San Antonio Spur, he was my favorite player. Didn't I explain that to you?
Yeah, but
then he quit on my Spurs.
Okay.
And he had a master plan. He wanted to quit his way out of town, and he pulled that off.
Right.
And he knew he's going to have to make one layover in Toronto. Yes, he did.
Skip, don't give that man that much credit.
No, he wanted to get home to Los Angeles.
He wanted to go to the...
And then he jerked the rug right out from under a LeBron who just was dead solid convinced he was going to be a Laker.
On his original trade request, did he have anything Clippers? He had the Lakers, and Pop and Buford said, we're not trading you to the Lakers. So don't do this talking about he had a master plan to get to the Clippers. He wanted to go to the Lakers. You know that, I know that.
I don't know that. He wanted to get to the Clippers.
Oh, my goodness.
So now what happened? You say all-time choke job. I'm going to say it again. There were 3 straight closeout fourth quarters, 3 in a row, game 5, 6, and 7. In the first one, game 5, he was really good. He scored 13 in the fourth quarter. He tried to keep them afloat, but Denver made 7 of 9 threes, and they lost. Game 6, fourth quarter, he's pretty good. He scored 9 points, but Denver made 7 of 9 threes, and they lost again. And then last night, he was horrible. As I tweeted, he was pathetic. It was hard to watch. I didn't want to watch it because I knew it was doomed going to the fourth quarter. They were already down 8. The first 2 fourth quarters, games 5 and 6, they led going to the fourth, and he fought valiantly to keep them afloat, and he couldn't overcome all those threes. Last night, the whole team gagged. But here's my big takeaway. Chris mentioned this. I said to you all year long, so I'm not being 20/20 hindsight here. I first guessed this. I told you from the start, Lou Williams is the closer of the Clippers. And to Chris's point, his heart was not even in going to the bubble in the first place. He took a little excursion and wound up having to be quarantined after he went to Magic City and to a funeral in Atlanta. But the point was, his heart was never in it, and his game was never in it. And you kept telling me, I can't even recognize him. He doesn't look the same to me anymore. In 7 games against Denver, Lou Williams shot 4 of 27 from 3. Can it get much worse than 15% for a high-volume three-point shooter? In the 3 straight closeout game fourth quarters, Lou Williams wouldn't even shoot anymore. I kept saying last night, just shoot it. Just to operate, be Lou. Go back into it. I want to see some lemon pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah, show me something.
You like Kawhi and Paul George, just be throwing up bricks. Keep throwing up bricks.
Well, hey, in the past, because he's a 6th man of the year, he shoots nothing but sweet bricks. And the 3 straight fourth quarters, he took 7 total shots and scored 7 total points and made 1 3 in the 3 straight closeout fourth quarters. He was the guy to take him home. I've always told you, I don't trust Kawhi down the stretch of games. He was never that way for the Spurs. I didn't think he was that way for Toronto. He lucked in the luckiest shot I've ever seen to win Game 7 against Philadelphia last year. He's not that guy. He gets it in the flow.
Chris, but they tell me Kawhi is so efficient, but in 7 games, only 2 of those games did he shoot 50% or better from the floor. So how efficient is that? Is that efficient? While my guy is shooting 58%, but he can't shoot. My guy isn't any good.
Well, your guy can't shoot.
I can't tell. Well, your guy can shoot and going home.
You know what? My guy last night wouldn't shoot. The most lethal weapon in basketball is his mid-range jumper, and he just quit shooting it. He lost all faith in it. I don't know why.
He was 6 of 22.
Yeah, I got it.
So he didn't shoot 22 threes.
But he didn't try the mid-range jumper.
Oh, he tried it.
He would try to just force it up through Joker at the rim.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's Kawhi is this. He's an assassin. He's a cyborg. He has no emotion. Every time he shot, Chris, you watched it. Every time he shot the ball, crying at the official, give me a call. I can't make a shot. Just give me a call. Stop crying.
Kind of like
lately.
LeBron does.
Pat Bam, you need to get at your boy. We're going to talk about Pat Bam a little later. Pat Bam, holler at me.
Yeah.
You and PG, all that kid. You remember that was Skip? You remember that?
Do I? Can't wait. So, last quick question for Chris Broussard. Do you hear any rumblings? Do you think there's any chance that Doc is in trouble?
That's the tough question. I would say only a slight chance. I would say very slight. But look, and I'm not saying you get rid of Doc. Doc is a good coach. But as I said, he's been out-coached these 2 series. And you can't avoid his track record. He underachieved with Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. I know they had some injuries in the playoffs, but he underachieved with them. He underachieved this year. I could see Ballmer giving him 1 more year, saying, look, we had injuries.
Yep.
We had the pandemic. We weren't together. But here's the tough part is this, Skip. The replacement for Doc could be right there on the bench, right?
He's sitting right there with his right hand. Yep.
Yeah.
And other teams want him.
Yep.
So you could lose Ty Lue, who could be the heir apparent if you keep Doc. If I had to guess, I think Doc stays. But
yeah,
I think only a slight chance.
I mean, I would, because I like Ty Lue. I know Ty Lue, so it'd be hard. But I want Ty Lue to leave and get his own gig, so I can continue to root feverishly against the Tippers.
Well, would you fear him if he were the head coach of the Clippers?
I fear, I got the guy that can walk on water.
Well,
I fear nothing.
Well, he's the coach of the Lakers.
I fear nothing. Yeah. As long as I got him, I fear nothing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing.
I don't think Shannon slept much last night.
No, I wouldn't hear about
the show. Chris, we appreciate you joining us, and we'll check in with you very soon.
No mercy.
After a late regular season win over the Blazers, Patrick Beverley made jokes about Portland heading to Cancun and missing the playoffs. Now it's the Blazers' turn for jokes. CJ McCollum tweeted at Damian Lillard asking if he had an extra villa for the Clippers. Dame, meanwhile, who was mocked by Pat Bev when he missed those clutch free throws in their first-round matchup, tweeted directly at Beverley saying, I guess I should extend this Cancun invite since I haven't made my arrangements yet, followed by 3 laughing emojis. Shannon, how much did you love Damian taking shots at Pat Bev? I enjoyed it.
I loved it. I loved it. Because if you remember, Skip, he was all on the floor. Skip. If it's daytime, if it's dollar time, all that kiki. Paul George, who really never trash talk, even he got into the fray. I'm like, PG, let Pat Bev have that. Guys that do what you do. Me, Skip, I'm going to talk trash. I would talk trash. But the guys that didn't talk trash, they might be about their 11, but they didn't join it. They didn't partake. That's my thing. John Elway wasn't back when I'm talking trash. He wasn't back there getting in with his arm around me, kiki. And he off camera. He joke laughing. Okay, fine. But they got a Paul George. That's not you. Pat Bev, I want to hear you talking now. What was his interview after the game like, Skip? Did you hear him? Where did Pat Bev go? I wanted to hear Pat Bev. He got so much to talk about. He's the heartbeat of the team. And you ain't talk to the heartbeat? Dang, hold that flight. You know what, Skip? Because, and when you play football, we all board the plane. And if you somebody, they'll hold the plane for you. Now, if you not, they're going to leave your butt, make you pay for your own trip, and then they're going to find you. Dame, do your boy this favor. You know, I got you, because somebody over there across from me be hating on you. I got you. Hold the flight. Pat Bev will be there. What time is Skip? It's 11 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock East Coast time. Give him another 2 hours. If he's not there in 2 hours, you go ahead and feel free to go on to Cancun and enjoy yourself a nice, well-deserved vacation. Because Pat Bev will be down there shortly. Really? He's going to make his own arrangement. Where's that key now? Paul George, you see that look on Paul George's face? Lips starting to quiver. Don't cry now. Pat Bev, he's sitting over there. Like, what happened? No! You know what happened. Now keep up. Oh, Skip. Is that the same guy that knocked the ball out of LeBron James' hand on Christmas Day and that you came out here?
Play of the year. Play of the year.
Don't give me a play of the year.
Didn't just knock it out of his hand. LeBron's going to shoot the game-tying 3 at the buzzer. He knocks it up out of his hand, off his hands, over his head. OB, game over. Clippers win again.
And now he putting his bag in the overhead bin, getting ready to go on vacation, while my guy's still in the bubble, getting ready to do battle with the Nuggets. That's what my guy doing. That's what your team's doing.
Is Damian Lillard still in the bubble?
No.
Help me out.
No, Dame.
Where was he tweeting from? I don't know.
Hey,
Portland?
Dame says, hold on. I got beat by a 4-time league MVP, a 3-time finals MVP, and
you know what? If I were Damian Lillard last night, I think I would have laid low.
I wouldn't have.
I'm not sure what does Damian Lillard have to gloat about?
What did Pat Bev have to gloat about?
Is it time once again to draw attention to Damian's playoff record? Do you realize since he came into the league, Damian Lillard has the worst playoff winning percentage of any player in the whole league? Kiki about that. Help me out. I want to hear Shannon kiki about that.
I'll take Dame Lillard over Pat Bev and Paul George.
That's about all he's got right now. He has the worst playoff winning percentage of any NBA player since he entered the league. Wow. And then should we flash back to getting swept by the Pelicans featuring your man AD?
No shame with
he
it.
wasn't all done in that series because Damian got swept and he shot 35% from the field and 30% from three. It was a minus 42. Then what happened in the finals just a year ago, the conference finals against Golden State? 4 straight fourth quarters.
What, Skip Bayless?
What? Time out. I'm talking right now. 4 straight fourth quarters and an overtime. Conference finals against Golden State with no Kevin Durant on the floor. And your man, Dame Dollar. He was Dame Nickel in that series. 4 straight fourth quarters, he shot 31% from the floor. Is that good? No. And 29% from 3, and he was a minus 30.
What about?
That's a flame out.
Hold on.
I thought he was supposed to be one of the best players in the league.
Well, if you don't mind me asking.
And wait a second, I'm not finished yet. So in a huge seeding game against the Clippers, who played no starters in the fourth quarter, Dame couldn't even bring it home, and it looked like he was about to head home out of the bubble because down the stretch, he was down 1 point. He goes to the free throw line and shoots 2 free throws. And I thought he was a 90% free throw shooter. He gagged both of them.
Yeah. Kind of like your guy.
2 big gags.
Your guy gagged.
He just spit it up right on the court. And then at the end of the game, he has a 3 to tie and badly misses that. And I'm thinking, I thought he was clutch.
Yeah.
And you know what? The Clippers just shamed him because they don't respect him. And
guess what
they laughed at him. They laughed at him.
And the Nuggets don't respect you guys.
Yep.
And think about this, Skip.
And by the way, my last point is, Pat Bev actually was one Clipper who lived up to his end of the bargain last night because he scored 11 with 6 assists, which tied for the team lead, and he had 3 steals. That's a pretty good line. Is Dame laughing at that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
First, you know what, Skip? You're right. Dame should not even engage in Pat Bev. Pat Bev ain't even on his level. He couldn't see Dame with the Hubble telescope. So you're right. But I'm agree with Dame on this one. Dame, let him have it. And give some of that to... I know, he and Paul George supposedly cleared the air, but now ain't no air clearing, bruh. We're going to leave families out of it, but I'm coming for your neck. Because you jumped into something. You should let Pat Bev do that. You know my resume. My resume, I sent your butt packing last year. And 3 years ago, I said Pat Bev and James Harden butt packing. And guess what? A year ago, I also sent the Denver Nuggets packing. So that man's resume is impeccable. Yeah, he hasn't won a title, but neither has Paul George, neither has Pat Bev. All I know is this here. Dame Lillard ain't got nothing to hold his head down for. He says, I'm not going to chase, and maybe he'll get somebody to come with him and CJ.
I'm just appreciative that Damian opened the door for us to discuss his playoff resume, which we needed to bring
Well,
back
let's discuss Paul George and Pat Bev. What's Pat Bev's resume? Because he's talking like he a lead dog. Nah, bro, you in the pack. You in the pack, bro. You in the back. You in the pack. You not lead dog. You never have, never will be. That's a lead dog. That's a big dog. Talk that talk, Dame, and he can walk that walk. Pat Bev needs somebody else to carry him. James Harden, Kawhi Leonard. And if those guys don't play well, when have we ever said the reason why the Clippers won a game was because of Pat Bev? Or the reason why the Rockets won a game because of Pat Bev? Come on, Skip, don't do that.
Damian would have the guts to say this to Pat Bev's face.
Why wouldn't he?
I don't know.
Pat Bev from Oak Town. 357, what's up with it?
How about Chicago? How about Chi-Town?
Man, hey.
Yeah, I'll take Chicago over Oak.
I'm going with, I got Dollar. Dollar ain't about that, but guess what?
He ain't about that.
Yeah,
that is correct.
Skip.
Pat Bev, about that.
Pat Bev, Skip. We all know. We all seen the little dog in the fence, and all he do is yeah. And as soon as the owner hit the gate, for the gate to open, he run back on the porch. That's what Pat Bev do. Pat Bev doing all that barking.
This is called keyboard courage.
Skip. You would love it. You would love it. He got a hurt hamstring. He all behind the bitch. And he and Paul George, they all key. Nah, what, Skip? Where's the key? It ain't no fun now, huh?
I'm keying at Damian. Up there in Portland, tweeting away.
Tweeting?
Yep.
Tweet. He said, you know what? Come join me. You know, he said, come join me. He come join me.
I don't think Pat Bev wants to go to Portland, but I...
No, we don't want, they don't want him up there anyway. Yeah. What he gonna do? What he gonna do?
Okay.
No mercy.
Welcome back to Undisputed. We are now joined by Rams legend and Fox Sports NFL analyst Eric Dickerson. It is so good to have you, Eric. And you know, you and Skip had that bet between the Rams and the Cowboys. And Eric, you got the win. So how good does it feel?
I tried to tell Skip. Skip won't listen. I tried to tell him we're going to get y'all. We owed you, Skip, and now you owe me a dinner.
I do owe you a dinner, but I would suggest you should buy a dinner for that referee who threw that flag on Michael Gallup for offensive pass interference when it was nothing close to that. They were just hand fighting. Jalen Ramsey, your top-paid corner, sold it. He effectively flopped, and he got away with it. You know and I know that should have been a completion, 45 yards, easy field goal, overtime. I would have won the bet.
You would have won, but you didn't win. I won, so don't be a
I got robbed.
All right, Edie gets the first one of the season. But I would like to talk about the Cowboys and everything we saw week one. Despite losing to the Rams, Mike McCarthy feels confident about where his Cowboys are at. The head coach said, quote, "We have a grading index that we've put a lot of time into, so we're closer than you may think we are." Eric, from what you saw Sunday night, does McCarthy have a point here?
Well, you know, I would have to say yes on that. And I said this on last week that the Cowboys have a very good football team. Look, it's not time to panic. This is the first game of the season. We talked about it last week. You know, no preseason. You know, you got to have preseason. That was almost like a preseason game. So, no, it's not time to panic. I really feel like the Cowboys will still win this division. You lost one game, the season opener. The Rams had a lot to prove being at home. The Cowboys beat them last time on the road. So, for sure. I mean, I just feel like the Cowboys have a very good football team. You got the bad, you got the good. The bad is that they had some major injuries on this road trip playing the Rams. You know, and if they can get that fixed, you know, if they can get somebody to replace those players. But I think the good is that this football team has a lot of weapons. And I mean a lot of weapons. One thing I saw the Cowboys, the Rams could not control them when they went to that almost like that speed tempo offense, almost like the Jim Kelly days in the 90s. When they went really fast, the Rams really had no answer for them because the Cowboys have a lot of weapons. I mean, they have a lot of weapons. And I think head coach Mike McCarthy hasn't had a time to really implement everything he wants. When I look at this football team right now, they remind me of the old Cowboys, you know, the Jason Garrett days, run on first down. The Cowboys are good, but they don't have that same great offensive line they had Zeke's first year. They don't have that offensive line they had most definitely had the Emmitt Smith days. So sometimes you have to throw on first down. You can't just go back and you're going to run on first downs automatically. But I feel like the Cowboys have a very good football team. and it's no time to panic for all you Cowboy fans.
Look like the same old Cowboys to me. Somehow they found a way to underachieve with all that talent. C.D. Lamb, and they got Amari Cooper, and they got Michael Gallup, and they got Zeke, and they got Dak, and somehow they found a way. But I agree with you on this point. It's the first game, and with no preseason, really no OTAs, late training camp. So this to be expected, but I'm going to see. I believe, and what Skip and I debated this yesterday, ED, is that I believe the offense should even flow more through Zeke. Because if you look at when Zeke was running on Sunday, he looked like the old Zeke. When they went play action, Dak was 9 of 11, averaged 11 yards per attempt. On the other plays that it wasn't play action, he was 16 of 28, 5 yards per attempt. And so I think that's going to be, they should rely on Zeke. Let him eat. You paying him $15 million. You can't get in this notion. Say, well, at least we were playing Dak $30+ million. He's going to want $40 million. So we got to let him throw the ball because we're paying him all this money. They're paying Patrick Mahomes $45 million, and they took a running back in the first round because they want to alleviate some of that pressure. And when they go light box, we run the ball. You go heavy, you put your base on the field, we're going to throw the ball. We're going to dictate to you as opposed to having the defense dictate to them. So I'm not going to panic about the Cowboys, but I'm not ready to be like Skip Bayless talking about they go into the NFC Championship game either.
He did not say that.
No, I said you. I didn't talk about ED.
I'm saying you're putting words in my mouth. I did not say.
Oh, they're not going to the championship game?
I said they're going to go 10-6 and win the division by 1 game, and I'll stand by that. And I think they could win 1 playoff game. That's what I predict.
Okay.
Okay. I am obviously a lifelong, true blue, diehard Cowboy fan, and I will be the first to admit to you I was more discouraged than encouraged by what I saw on Sunday night at SoFi Stadium. My problem is that game left me flat just the way a lot of nightmarish flashback games left me flat a year ago. This offense last year led the whole NFL in yards gained. It went 8-8 because of a bunch of road losses such as, may I count the ways? These are all Fs that this man gave my quarterback. At New Orleans, they scored 10 points and lost 12-10. At the Jets, they scored 22 points and lost 24-22. At New England, they scored 9 points and lost 13-9. At Chicago, they scored 24, but again, they lost 31-24. Remember, they had only scored 7 through 3 quarters.
Correct.
So it's completely misleading. And then at Philly, it was 17-9. So that offense, even if I give them the 24 at Chicago in those road games, they averaged 15 points a game. And Sunday night, they scored a grand total of 17.
That's y'all.
Wrong. Sunday night, they went 3 of 12 on 3rd down. And obviously, they missed on the 4th down that they went for. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But the point is, something's wrong with that. You got 3,000-yard receivers. You got Zeke. You got Dak, a top 10 quarterback who deserves $40 million a year. And wait a second, you only scored 17. You went 3 for 12 on 3rd down, and the Rams are pretty good on defense. I give you that. And to your point, there's no preseason. But still, it left me flat like something is missing here. Something is not right. And then you lose Blake Jarwin, who I thought was going to be a key piece to the puzzle. I liked him a lot. I thought he could be sort of a 4th wideout.
You better get that right tackle spot fixed.
Well, you got a rookie free agent undrafted over there.
Well, good luck with that one.
Good luck with that one. And I think he's going to be there for the next 3 weeks until Lyle Collins comes back. So it's going to be a little dicey. Can they beat Atlanta? I don't know. It's like 50-50, even though they're a 5.5-point favorite. But I didn't see hopeful the way Eric seemed to see hopeful, and I hope he's right about this.
Well, now, you know I'm not a Cowboy, but I see Skip. I mean, they have a good football team, and I kind of disagree with you a little bit, Shannon, on going through Zeke right now, because this Cowboy football team does not have that same offensive line. They really don't. I mean, people talk about it, but they got a lot of pieces missing, and they really need to depend on Dak. Well, you know, I think that when Dak, sometimes he holds the ball a little too long. Look, when he has time to run, he should just take off running, because that's one thing he hasn't used enough, I think, is his legs. He has a lot of weapons. And you're talking about a team, all these teams, they haven't had no preseason. They come out, play a regular season game. Nobody's tackled in 9 months. Nobody ran real plays in 9 months since the last season. So it's going to take some time for them to get on pace with each other. This is a new head coach. He really doesn't know his team all the way because he hadn't had a preseason with him yet. So I'm not really, and I do agree with you, Skip. I think that 10 wins will win that division. I think they win more than 10 games. I mean, like I say, the Cowboys have all the pieces. They really do, especially offensively. They do have the pieces. That's if they can get them clicking. I mean, I think Zeke would rather come out the backfield and catch passes instead of run to on first down and 10 run to a brick wall all the time. Because that seems like what the Cowboys do. On first down, we're going to run the football. And it's always, all right, it's 2nd and 8 or 2nd and 9. I mean, instead of, having a rollout or a play action, like I'd rather see him throw deep, go a bomb to Gallup, Amari Cooper, either way. But let's do something a little bit different. Don't go back to being the same old Cowboy you were with Jason Garrett, and you have probably even more talent, but you do have you have a new head coach, not a rookie head coach. You have a new head coach that's, I think, still trying to learn this football team.
But I agree. I think sometimes you fall in love, and a lot of teams, and mainly the Cowboys, think, well, we got a dominant back, our offensive line, and I agree, they're not what they once were. Let's just run the ball on first down. What about some creativity? You don't always just have to run the ball on first down. But when they play action, you look at Dak in the play action game, and you look at when he just drops back. It's like night and day. And Zeke, I don't know what you saw, ED, but I saw a pop. I saw the Zeke from year 1 and year 2 running on Sunday, as opposed to what I saw Zeke last year. Zeke looked quicker. He looked fresher. Catching the ball in the swing pass, going 19 yards for a touchdown. He was hitting the hole. He's always been a leaner. He was always, you tackle him, he's going to fall for 2 yards. And that's what I saw on Sunday. So I believe they should give him 25. And the way he was running, because teams are going to, at some point in time, Dak is going to have to throw them the victories. Because they're going to say, we're going to take Zeke away, and we're going to force you to throw it. But until they do, Zeke was getting 4.5 a carry, ED. You know, if you're getting 4.5 a carry, DD, you want that thing about 30 times.
You want that rock, but when I still look at the Cowboys, when Zeke is right now at his best, when he's, like I said, he is a guy that leans forward, he falls forward. But coming out the backfield, those swing passes, those screen passes, he is very dangerous on those. And the Cowboys, when they had that up-tempo pace of football, if I think it was 3 minutes left right before halftime, the Rams, to me, had no answer for it because Dak was hitting. He had 3 different receivers, right? And I hit 3 different receivers. I hit Gallup. I hit Amari Cooper. Now I'm going to hit Zeke out the backfield. It gave the Rams a lot of problems, and I believe it'll give any team a lot of problems because the Cowboys have so many weapons. That's if they use them right and use them at the right time.
I just wish we had a few more weapons on the other side of the ball. Aldon Smith was a revelation.
Yeah.
He looks like he's turning back into that monster of San Francisco days of yore. But Leighton Vander Esch is gone again, and Jalen Smith graded poorly again. So I'm not
And your
sure.
D-Law making $21 million had 1 tackle.
I'm not sure. So you have to outscore people, so you better be able to move and score the football as opposed to just piling up a bunch of yards.
Yes.
Well, it was the first, like I said once again, it was the first game of the season. It was like really a preseason game. I got to give Sean McVay credit. I think everybody should, because he got the ball out of Goff's hands very quickly. Didn't get the Cowboys time to get to him. And to me, that has been one of my problems with Jared Goff, holding the ball too long.
Yeah.
In that game, I was watching 2.2 seconds, 1.8 seconds, 0.88 seconds. You get the ball out that quick, it's hard to get to the quarterback. And I was shocked. The Rams ran the ball 40 times. I'm sure Todd Gurley looking like 40 times. They didn't run that much when I was there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Eric, so since you guys are visiting the Eagles next week, does that mean you and Shannon are going to have a bet on dinner, or are you guys going to set anything up here?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. All right.
He's an Eagles fan.
Just checking. All right.
I'm taking all bets right now.
ED, always a pleasure to have you. We appreciate it, and we'll check in with you throughout the season.
No mercy.
After Odell Beckham Jr. hauled in just 3 catches for 22 yards, despite being targeted 10 times, there are now reports that the Browns may be actively shopping the Pro Bowl receiver. Another report immediately came out saying those rumors of OBJ being on the market are false. However, both reports came from radio personalities who are not in the Cleveland market, so kind of tough to know what to believe right now. Shannon, in your opinion, should Cleveland part ways and trade Odell?
Odell should want to get out. At some point in time, we're going to have to come to the realization. Now, we're on this is our third head coach. You had Hugh Jack, you had Freddie K, and now you got Stefanski. Now, you've gone out and got Jarvis Landry. You went and got Hooper. You got Odell. You got Njoku. You got these running backs. And nothing seems to be working. Now, what's the common denominator in all of this? Through all those head coaches, through all those running backs, through all those receivers, what's the common denominator? It's amazing how a chip doesn't work when you're not the most talented player on the field, Skip. You notice that? Because I saw, he walked on here, and he walked on there, and he won the Heisman Trophy. Y'all keep on fooling yourself. Y'all know what the problem is. Y'all keep on thinking it was Odell. Odell was hurt last year, and I believe he's 100% healthy. But it doesn't do, if Odell plays a dependent position, how is what's going on Odell's fault? Because we don't give the wide receivers that kind of credit. Tom Brady receivers never got the credit that they deserve. It's Tom Brady. Peyton Manning, it was Peyton. Okay, give some of that blame to you know who. If I'm Odell, where could I go? Bruh, give me the Green Bay. Give me somewhere they got a quarterback to know what the hell he's doing.
New England.
Oh, I go play with Cam.
So, if I'm not mistaken, exactly 1 year ago, the next couple of weeks, this guy across from me, Shannon Sharp, was driving Baker Mayfield's bandwagon. You were the leader. You were saying shake and bake. He was my guy, and suddenly you co-opted and made him your guy.
I know, and I see now why you didn't fight me for him. Because you know he's going to be some slaw. That's why you didn't fight me for him. Everybody else, you want to fight for the I was first on this. I was first. You ain't say nothing. You let me co-op him.
I was first, and I'm still first because I'm standing by Baker Mayfield. I still believe in him. I will say this. I do not believe in his management team's approach to marketing him because they're at it again. Last year was an onslaught of progressive commercials. My house, I live in my stadium. They're great commercials, but they just paint the bullseye bigger and bigger on his back, and he's proven nothing.
But Skip, why wouldn't he say no?
Patrick Mahomes under Lee Steinberg, my longtime friend, they decided the first couple of years, let's lay low.
Let's
achieve first. Let's do something.
Let's accomplish something. Yes.
Before you start all this. And now another bombardment has started with some progressive commercials, and now Hulu has live sports. And it's Baker and Baker and Baker. It's not good. You haven't done enough yet. You're on your third different offense, third different play caller, third different voice in your ear. It's hard, man. The league is hard.
Look at the guys that waited and how their career turned out. Look at Russ. Russ didn't do any interviews.
Didn't do anything.
Andrew Luck. Now, he had to retire, but his first couple of years, now you look at the flip side. Who was the guy that came out with Andrew Luck that immediately started doing commercials? Subway, Gatorade, this and that.
He did.
And look at Baker. Bruh, can you get something done first in the league that would warrant this kind of attention?
This league will eat you alive.
Yes.
Okay, so just to defend what happened to Baker this past Sunday, what happened a year ago in Week 4? Baker went to Baltimore when they were on their way to going 14-2, and he lit them up.
Best game of the season.
By far. They won 40-25. He hung 40 on Baltimore at Baltimore, and he threw for 340 yards. He was really good in that game, just the way he'd been really good in the starts that he got for Hugh Jackson until Hugh got fired in Cleveland the first during his rookie year. That guy had to go back in game 1. It was Brady-esque having to go to New Orleans. You have to go to Baltimore. What do you think Baltimore is going to be doing to you? They're going to be spoiling to put you back in your place.
Yeah, but I think we can all agree. Baker has regressed in his second and thus far this year. Now, it's one game.
Well, it's at Baltimore. Who did I pick to win it all? Baltimore.
Yeah, but Skip, he even from first year to second year, he wasn't the same quarterback in his second year as he was in his first year. Because remember, Skip, he, if I'm not mistaken, he threw the most touchdown passes for a rookie quarterback in NFL history. And there have been some pretty good rookie quarterbacks to come into the NFL. And Baker threw more touchdowns. He's not, I don't know what it is. Maybe it is the commercial, Skip. Maybe, Skip, you do know it's okay. People, it's okay. Because you were great in college, you win a Heisman Trophy. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be great in the NFL and you're going to have the same level of success in the NFL as you had in college. Because, Skip, look at Tom Brady. Nobody would have thought Tom Brady would have been what he is in the NFL after coming out of college.
No, nobody.
No.
Nobody
So
did.
it's okay. And then sometimes we get guys that come out. Russell won wherever he went. He should have still been at NC State. But the head coach didn't want him he wanted to play baseball.
He did?
He said, either you come out for spring ball or I'm giving your job to Mike Glennon. Well, he gave the job to Mike Glennon. He goes to Wisconsin. He takes them to the Rose Bowl.
He did.
Some guys they just get it. And I don't know what it is with Baker. Maybe you're right, Skip. Maybe it is too many commercials. But maybe he's not going to be that franchise elite quarterback that everybody thought he was going to be, and he'll just be a good player. And that's okay.
I said from the start, Odell is a bad match for Baker. Baker loves Odell. They socialize. They're friends off the field. And to a fault, he is Odell conscious, trying to get him early balls just to get him in the flow. And after a while, to me, I like Odell personally. This is not a personal shot. I just think he has losers' intangibles. He is a solo act in a team game that you played, and you were the strongest voice in your locker rooms. And Odell is no voice in the locker room because he speaks only for Odell.
I think the thing is, Skip, what teams try to do is that they know Odell is an emotional player and he needs to get the ball. So what we do is we're going to double him early. We're going to get him frustrated.
I would too.
That was some of the things that they did with T.O. Guys that are emotional and they need the ball, let's double them and take them away early. But just come on, give him a couple of jailbreak screens. Give him a couple of smoke screens. Instead of trying to push him down the field, just let him feel the ball and try to convince him that, you know what, Odell, you're going to be a part of this thing today. We're gonna keep you involved. But they always try to push the ball down the field to Odell. Just let him touch the ball early so he knows, okay, I'm involved. They're going to come see you, boy.
Okay, I would trade him. And again, they're asking a hefty price for him, and I don't know if Belichick...
You're never going to get what you gave up to get him.
Well, I got that. But again, they're going to want a one back for him, and I don't think Belichick's going to give him a one.
Skip, you tried to trade it. Why would I give you a one when I know you want to get rid of it?
Yeah.
I'm not giving you that.
It was just a really tough start for the Browns. Look, I know it's week 1, and, you know, we didn't have preseason, but that wasn't very pretty.
No mercy.
The Clippers gave up not only a 3-1 series lead against the Nuggets, but also a double-digit lead, Game 7, and now they go home without even reaching the conference finals. After the loss, Kawhi Leonard and Lou Williams both said team chemistry was a reason the favored Clippers fell apart. And Doc Rivers agreed and also said conditioning was a factor. So, Shannon, do the Clippers need to make a major change in the offseason?
Skip, can I get to that last part? Conditioning?
Which part?
I mean, Skip told me LeBron James. What do you mean conditioning? So you mean to tell me load management is not the way?
Wait, what did I tell you about LeBron?
Oh, you talking about LeBron James. He can't get tired. He cramped up. Do you remember, Jenny? He cramped up. Everybody, I'm going to frame this for you.
We're talking about Game 1, 20.
Yeah.
14.
Yeah.
I remember.
At San Antonio,
Yeah.
no air conditioning.
Yeah.
Yes. He was the only man on the floor who cramped up in the fourth
Well, the Nuggets
quarter.
don't look like they were tired.
Interesting.
Don't look like the Nuggets were tired at all. They were going up and down the court. So conditioning is the only factors with them. But, Skip, back to Jenny's original question. Skip, how do you make changes? They gave up 5 first-round picks to get Paul George. They gave up this year's first-round pick to sign Marcus Morris. Trez Harrell is a free agent. Marcus Morris is a free agent. JaMychal Green can opt out. So what pieces do they have? And lo and behold, check this out, Skip. Next year, Paul George and Kawhi can opt out. So, Skip, I don't really know what you do. You've given up 2022, 24, 26. You've given up swaps in 23 and 25. And you gave up this year's first-round pick to get Marcus Morris. This is the team that you've got to bring back. If you can sign Trez Harrell, if you can sign Marcus Morris. Now, you're going into the luxury tax. Now, that's not a problem for Steve Ballmer. The dude's worth $70 billion. So, you know, him paying $100 million in luxury tax to win that title. I don't see no dancing last night. You remember when they signed him, Skip? You remember when they signed him, he was high-fiving Paul George and missing and high-fiving Kawhi and he's just dancing? I saw that look on his face like, damn. and Jeannie Buster's over there in her nice little skirt. Oh, Jeannie sitting over there just nice and ladylike. Her dad would be proud. Be proud of what she done.
You're talking like a man who thinks it's over and LeBron has won his fourth ring.
No, what I'm saying is we have a chance. There is no chance for the Clippers to do nothing in 2020.
So, back to dramatic changes. If I know Steve Ballmer, he's used to winning and winning now. And he will wake up this morning thinking, something has to change because somebody's got to pay for this. I will not be surprised if Doc Rivers pays for this. I would not do that. I'm a huge fan of his. I still think he's the top of the list of coaches. And again, he had a bad series against Denver, but I would bring it all back, business as usual, and tee it up and go again. I will not be surprised if Steve Ballmer says, hey, we got Ty Lue just sitting right there. He's hot property. We gave Doc a shot. Let's give Ty a shot next year. I won't at all be surprised if he tries that. You can also chalk this up to just bubble trouble for the Clippers. They clearly did not want to be there. Many of them almost opted out anyway. Lou Will almost opted out, and he was mentally opted out for 7 games against the Denver Nuggets. So my point is, you almost have to run it back again and see if...
You got no choice, Skip.
Hey, remember, Kawhi and Paul George only played 37 games in the regular season together.
Well, Skip, if he's load management, if he's missing practice and he's load management, how do you ever build chemistry if he's not practicing with those knees? So how do you build a chemistry if a guy can't practice and he's resting 20 games a season?
Well, at least he didn't load manage in the bubble, did he?
No, but I'm saying, but he loads management during the season because they say only the playoffs matter. Okay, we're in the playoffs. And look at it. He played 44 minutes and gave us 14 points. And he had the worst plus-minus of anybody that touched the court.
Yep.
That's your guy. That's your guy.
All right, we're going to leave that guy for now. That guy has left the bubble. We're moving on from Kawhi.
No mercy.
Well, some have been critical of Mike McCarthy going for it on 4th and 3. Instead of tying the game with a short field goal in the Cowboys' 20-17 loss to the Rams, Dak Prescott was a big fan of the play call. Dak said, quote, I love the aggressiveness. I think that was the point in the game, that if we get that first down and punch it in the end zone, we're looking at a whole different ball game. I think it was a momentum chance, and I love the play call. Shannon, should they have gone for it on 4th and 3?
Not at that point in the game, Skip. It's 11 minutes and 46 seconds. Skip, if it's 2 minutes and 46 seconds, you don't know if you're going to get the ball back, Skip, because they might get a couple of first down, run the timeout. But at 11:46, you know you're going to get the ball back. You take the points, tie the ball game there, and then let's go play football now. No, I don't. You talk if we'd have got that. Okay, you did, but you also got to wait, Skip. What happens if we don't get it? How deflating is it going to be? And does it give them momentum? So you have to factor that into, oh, I love the aggressiveness. No, I don't like it at that moment. 2:46, yes. 11:46, absolutely not.
I loved it. And I did not immediately tweet, don't go for it. Right. I loved it. I loved the go for it mentality that Mike McCarthy displayed. And I loved the play that he called, that shallow cross underneath to CeeDee Lamb, who had detonated this drive with a 20-yard punt return. They were rolling. We had Eric Dickerson talking about the momentum. They were up-tempo. It was boom, 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 boom. I did not love handing it to Zeke on 3rd and 6, and he got 3. That shocked me. I thought they should have thrown it there.
Skip, I tweeted. I said that was I'm going for it on 4th down run.
Well, clearly that was the plan. They had 2 plays called.
Yes.
My problem was with the execution of the shallow cross to a CeeDee Lamb, who is a run-after-catch beast. I thought Dak was slightly late and a little low with it, and he had to slow just a touch, where if you lead him, if you let him run to the ball and accelerate to the ball and have a chance to turn a little bit upfield, you don't let that kid, Jordan Fuller, the rookie out of Ohio State, he had a Malcolm Butler Memorial break on the ball and just nailed him because he was a little slow in his breakout.
Well, Skip, he's a rookie, and he'll learn that these guys are really good tacklers here. And maybe at Oklahoma, Skip, he makes that play, and he breaks that tackle, and he goes in the end zone. But normally in a situation like that, if you don't get the proper rub, maybe if he pushes up another step and forces the guy to bubble, because the guy didn't have to bubble, Skip. He met him at the point. So if he could have made him bubble just a little bit, he'll learn you can't run a 1-foot route and expect to get 3 yards. You
Okay,
got to get close to that depth as possibly can.
I believe they had practiced it short of the marker because he's run after catch.
Right.
But you have to lead him a little bit and give him some momentum toward the sideline.
Well, see, Skip, the thing is, these guys here, they study tape, and they're going to be on you a lot quicker than they will in college. Because in college, there's no question, Skip, he catches that against Texas, he's got that ball in the end zone.
I don't know. Texas won't like you saying that.
but CeeDee Lamb, but these guys here, they're going to get you on the ground right there at that point.
Texas could not get him on the ground the whole game last
and that's why I used Texas. Baylor couldn't either. Did you remember what he did to Baylor in the Big 12 championship game?
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, guys, that is it for Undisputed. Shannon, you were on a different level.
Oh, yeah.
Like, come on. Skip, tomorrow's going to be a better day. We're back tomorrow.
No, it won't.
Have a good day, guys.
No.